Hello and welcome to Social Media Weekly, episode 15 April 2020. Social Media Weekly is brought to you by Virtual Peddlers Marketing, the digital marketing agency that helps small businesses go digital. My name is Sean. This week, headlines: Facebook NPE tests new app for couples, Facebook's AI falls flat, LinkedIn enables events feature to all pages, Instagram adds DM to desktop, Zoom appoints security counsel, finally, Netflix partners with Instagram on self-care content. Back to the stories. Facebook NPE tests new app for couples. It's called Tune, and it's a chat app that lets couples stay in touch and keep each other updated on what they're doing. Users can also integrate the app with Spotify to share songs or relate songs to their feelings. Released only in the US and Canada, this app comes at quite a right time, for couples that don't live together and need some form of connection. So this does not apply to couples on some form of movement restriction that live together, but those who don't live together and would like to stay connected somehow. It's actually a very basic app. It's a messenger app that has a little bit of new functions, like let's say you can share music, you can share feelings, you can put on a scrapbook with stickers and stuff like that. So for those who have not been updated on what Facebook NPE is, Facebook NPE is actually an experimental team that they use to run projects that are highly experimental, which may be scrapped or absorbed into the greater platforms. So they are not planning to come up with new apps that will be mind-blowing like what Facebook is or stuff like that. But what they're doing is they're just testing stuff, because previously Facebook has always been able to run experiments on their platforms like Messenger and WhatsApp. But once these platforms became too commoditized and became too mainstream, what happened is people always complain when something gets changed. So what they do is they actually form this special team to experiment on certain features, small little things, and to see if it actually works. It's not exactly to come up with a new app for the world. Facebook's AI falls flat. Let me just check this thing. Okay, it works fine. Facebook AI falls flat. Last month, Facebook asked all their manual reviewers to stay home and away from work until further notice because of the COVID lockdown. It also said it would rely on automation, which will make more mistakes. They actually said that automation would actually make more mistakes than humans, flagging misinformation on the COVID-19. So Consumer Reports, which is a not-for-profit organization, created a page called Self-Preservation Society and actually created ads that spread misinformation about COVID. One ad stated that coronavirus was a hoax and people under 30 are safe. Another ad said that drinking small doses of bleach per day will keep them safe. Now, these are not actually hoax like misinformation that will go out. What Consumer Reports is doing is it is actually stress testing Facebook's ability, the AI's ability to flag COVID-19 ads that may contain misinformation. And lo and behold, all these ads have been approved for schedule but not published. So they have been in schedule for the past week and Facebook did not flag them. Of course, Consumer Reports did not actually publish those ads. They just used it for a test to see if Facebook's AI is actually flagging stuff, which they have proven they are not. So what happened is they actually took down all these things. This shows how much of Facebook censorship depends on human beings and the fact that human beings are not working and a lot of misinformation are falling through the cracks. It's not even a crack anymore. It's like giant holes. And it actually shows how little content we can trust, especially on Facebook and all of social media. Now that we use social media more than before, the problem is that we need to really, really be careful and double check our content before we share them. LinkedIn enables events feature to all pages. Events feature was launched in 2019 and was only available to selected company pages. However, in light of the COVID-19 lockdowns that are causing global cancellations of events, LinkedIn is making this feature available to all pages. This is in hopes that companies can hold virtual events to stay connected with followers. From desktop, head to admin tools on the top right corner and then create an event. From the mobile, you can access via the main function menu, which is the hamburger. I think so. Make sure you always market your event way ahead of time in order to get maximum impact and reach. So brands, companies, you can now run virtual events, virtual conventions, virtual talks, workshops, and all that. You don't have to use third-party tools like Zoom and all. And it's better to stay in LinkedIn, because LinkedIn can become a marketing platform for you to get it out first and then run the event. The same tool can run the event, and the same tool can handle the advertisements and everything after the event as well. So it actually makes more sense to use platforms like LinkedIn for professional conventions, workshops, courses, webinars, instead of third-party ones. If you have any concerns on how to prepare for good LinkedIn events, I am publishing a Tipsy VP episode, especially on tips and hacks to run or to prepare for LinkedIn events this Friday. So stay tuned. Next up, Instagram adds DM to desktop. We've been talking about this for months now, right? We've been waiting for it for a while. I think it was a couple of, maybe earlier this year or late last year, we talked about Instagram potentially dropping a DM feature and improving the desktop feature. So finally, Instagram has enabled DM on its desktop app. This happened last week. It may not mean much for mobile-focused users, like maybe those people who just use it for their personal and all that. But for influencers and social media marketers, it's actually quite an amazing ability, because now we are able to log in and we can use a full keyboard and a wider screen to engage with people, to talk to people, to form conversations. And phone keyboards are just not good. Not for the amount of work that we do. Zoom appoints Security Counsel. Over the past weeks, Zoom has raised from obscurity to stardom and brought along a slew of privacy and security nightmares. We've all heard of this. After spending all the time fixing one flaw after another and having some journalist sites even marking it as malware, I think Wired was the one that marked it as malware, and a lot of companies ban Zoom in their corporate environments. Okay, so before we continue on to this, Zoom is actually a very good app. It's very efficient. It works very well. It works in such a way that companies like Cisco and GoToMeeting should actually be doing, Cisco WebEx and GoToMeeting actually be doing, because it is simple enough to use that you can pick it up in 30 seconds. That is how Zoom works and why people like it so much. Whereas Cisco WebEx and GoToMeeting is so complicated. There's so many small little things going on, and just to make calls, you have to go through so many things. It requires training that most people do not have time for. But the problem is Zoom has all these security problems, right? And these security problems do not apply to everyone. I mean, sometimes if you're using it for private chats with friends and just a casual meeting without any GDPR compliant stuff or any things that PDPA protected information being shared around, corporate information, financial stuff and everything like that, it is fine. You can use Zoom. It's okay. And it's not so much of an issue. Or you just want to do like workouts and, virtual get-togethers and chit-chat, it's fine. But if you are using it for really, really serious companies-related sensitive information, the chances are Zoom may not be the right app for you to use right now. I mean, maybe in a couple of weeks' time, when this Security Council beefs up its securities and privacy, you should be able to start using it again. But right now, Microsoft Teams is free. Cisco WebEx is free. I think GoToMeeting is free as well. You're better off using those. Anywho, they actually appointed a Security Council filled with third-party companies, representative from third-party companies. One of them is actually former Facebook Chief Security Officer Alex Stamos, which was appointed late last week. Then among other members were actually representatives from HSBC, NTT Data, Procore, and Ellie Mae. I actually initially didn't think that appointing Facebook's ex-chief of security was a good idea because Facebook was never known for its security and privacy in the first place. But then I thought, well, the security and privacy is not accidentally a problem. They deliberately and maliciously used our private information. So technically their security is done in such a way that it is safe, but it is done in such a way that it's purposely like that. But it is also nice to see members from different third-party companies, especially a bank. HSBC isn't a model bank that every bank should actually be seeing as a benchmark for everything good. It's not exactly a very ethical bank, but anyway, besides that, they do have certain requirements when it comes to what is right and how things should be done in a corporate situation and entity data as well. And I think that could help Zoom steer it to the right direction. Netflix partners with Instagram with self-care content. As the global social distancing mandate continues, the lack of human contact is taking a toll on all of us. I also suspect Netflix is already running out of content to keep us occupied. I mean, at this point for the past month, I have friends who have been consuming Netflix faster in 2 weeks than they have ever been since they had the Netflix account. They just like go through one show a fortnight. It's crazy. Netflix cannot handle this kind. And they cannot go out and shoot new shows because everybody is social distancing, and how do you do production, right? So what they're doing is they are actually working with Instagram to create short shows that talk about mental and self-care amid the pandemic. They will feature stars from some Netflix most popular programs among young adult viewers. I'm thinking, it did not say, but I'm thinking some people from maybe sex education. That would be nice. So this partnership actually makes sense because Netflix and Instagram are used primarily by audiences under 34 years old. Actually, more than half of the users of both platforms, Netflix and Instagram, are users under 34 years old globally. It also aligns with Instagram's focus on mental health with like the removal of like counts, protection against bullying. And this is important because I know that a lot of us are stuck indoors now, social distancing, and not being able to communicate and connect with friends and family as how we normally would. But young adults are quite badly impacted because they are in the growing phase and where they need to experience and learn by with one another. So it's kind of like stuff like they learn how to communicate with people by communicating with people. They learn how to tolerate and accept the differences among people by communicating and socializing with people. So if this were to continue and they lose the key few years in months and probably even a year in doing this, they will kind of have a little gap in what's, I don't know, I mean, mental cell thing, I guess. But in any case, it's good that Netflix and Instagram are doing this, and it's good that they are working with young adults to come up with content. So this one is that it's not actually being published in Netflix, it's actually going into Instagram. So Netflix is the one that is creating the content with Netflix stars, with Instagram, of course, because Instagram knows how to create short content better than Netflix, and then posting it onto Instagram. Right, so that's all for this week. Social Media Weekly podcast is available on Anchor FM, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. Our full videos are available on YouTube, and we post bits and clips on Instagram and Facebook. This is Social Media Weekly, episode 15, April 2020. My name is Sean. Au revoir.